Hi there YouTube, Extreme Trains here. So in this video we're following hot on the heels of looking at the core moments Percy. By looking at the core moments, Motorised, Trackmaster 4, Push Along, Thomas. Yes, I said push along in there because the truck is push along. Again, this is the single version. I've already looked at the Greatest Moments pack, which comes with the 2 troublesome trucks. If you want to see that review, there will be a little icon in the corner and a link down below. So this video, we're going to be taking a look at what are the differences between this single pack version, and already I can see there are quite a few, which will likely be very, very interesting. So what are we waiting for? Let's do it. Alright, you can see here we've got the packaging of the classic style Thomas. Now again, this is the individual package Thomas. Some deco differences to the version that I've already looked at, and that's why I was very keen to show him off. But as with Percy, you can see we've got the 80th anniversary logo there. I don't know why I keep wanting to focus on my hand. We've got the CGI picture of Thomas here. We've got the Motorised. Again though, interesting they're using the version that doesn't have the rivets on it, but then the version that we actually have in the toy has all the rivets. Fine. If we turn that over, we've got that on the bottom. Again, we've got that little nice little code there. And then, just like Percy, I'm very excited to see the return of this. Can you imagine 10 years ago, if you had told me that I'd be excited to see other available toys on the back of a toy box, and I would make comment in several videos about it, I think I would have said you were crazy, but here we are, and that's the world we live in now, I guess. That is the rest of him, if that helps anyone or is of any interest to you all. All right, that's all I want to say about this. What are you waiting for? Let's do it. Doing the appraisal as we turn him around. All right, let's take a look at that face. Again, it's using the same mold as the other Thomas that I have, and you can see that unfortunately I've got one that's got some bodgy eyes. I didn't look at this. I think there was only one Thomas on the shelf when I went anyway, but I might get another one to get one that doesn't have that. It's a bit hard to see on the camera, but you can kind of see that the printing on his eyes is a little bit too low. So his whites are printed like on his bottom of his cheek. So the black parts are in the right spot, but the whites are not quite in the right spot on this one. From a difference, it's fine. It's one of those things that until you see it, then you see it, which I didn't in the store. Anyway, again, you can come and see here, we don't have that painting on the buffers. We don't have the buffer detailing. And as with Percy, and we'll just do the comparison in a minute, I think it really cheapens the look of the toy not to have that. And that's a little bit disappointing. Otherwise, we come around to the side, you can see we've just got the classic detailing here with all the rivets on it. None of that paint spray. I suspect that very soon we're going to see people like taking this chassis off and putting it on the other one, so you have the painted buffer detailing with this just plain version of Thomas, for want of a better word. We've got the similar detailing here. Having seen Percy, I'm disappointed that the whistles aren't printed, because Percy has nice separately molded whistles. Thomas doesn't have any separately molded parts here, so I think they could have splashed out a bit more. Have some printing there. Otherwise, yep, same detailing as on the other Thomas. Come around the back, same situation with the wheels here. And then we've got the same thing on the roof. So yeah, he's a definitely different toy. I like this expression. I think it's cool that we're getting different expressions for like all the different versions of Thomas. That's awesome. But they're all happy faces, which I think is fine and probably appropriate, but they're all different faces, which is also really cool. Very, very nice. Now, what you really want to know is about this truck, right? Wow, look. It's goldy. It's kind of a gold color. I don't know if that was intentional because of the 80th anniversary or not. But yeah, this is just the same truck we've seen many times before. It does have that newer chassis with the round wheels and the extra detailing. But, you know, it's not a troublesome truck. It doesn't have the face. It's pretty boring. Good to get something. But, you know, would I prefer they sold these just separately for... Would I prefer they sold these separately for a bit cheaper? Yes, but then you'd have a situation where there'd be like the price for the tank engines and a price for the tender engines. So I understand why they include this truck, so they can keep them all the same. But yeah, it would be nice to get something a little bit more interesting. Is that too much for us for? All right, here is the comparison between the 2 versions of Thomas that I currently own, and you can really see the difference the faces make. So, you know, the one in front, the Greatest Moments pack, he's looking right at the camera. The other one's looking off right to the other side. But you can just see immediately how much difference it makes to these toys with that splash of white and the painted buffers. This really is a much more premium looking version of the same toy. And it just shows you that they makes a massive difference. Why they're keeping the extra paint to the versions that come in the Greatest Moments pack, I don't really understand, because I wouldn't have thought they would be any more expensive per unit. If anything, I would say that the Greatest Moments packs are often like they're $25 usually in Australia, thereabouts. And then the individual engines are about $16. So the difference doesn't make any sense in terms of how much extra plastic you get. You get one extra truck. So someone at Mattel, would be great if they could explain to me these decisions. Again, though, you can see differences in the face. It looks like essentially he's just been mirrored. So it's the same facial expression, even with the eyebrows have just been mirrored. And perhaps when you have them both here, you can see what I'm talking about. Whereas with this one, the white fills in the eyes really nicely. Whereas this one, you can see it kind of is a bit low. It's a bit funny looking. So if I can get another one of these, which I will try and do without, stopping anyone else from collecting them, I will do that. The other big change is, yes, we don't have the weird water question mark. Is that what you even call it? Detail on the side here. I really don't know. We've kept the darker red plastic compared to James, but yeah, I definitely prefer this just plain version because I just don't understand what this is supposed to be. So I'm the kind of person who would love to do a swap of these chassis so I can have the white running board Thomas with the plain on the side, but otherwise they're all the same. You can see I've done the coupling mod on this one so that he has a nice short coupling instead of the long one. But yeah, otherwise you can see very, very similar toys. The camera might be looking like they're different shades of blue, but I can assure you in person they are the same color blue. Alright, so what do I think of this pack? This is a bit more difficult than Percy. Percy, very easy to recommend. This Thomas, of course, still easy to recommend. For the price you're getting a very nice rendition of the CGI Thomas. It's got some really nice details. It's a very nice looking toy. But at the same time, you could get this. You could also get that Classic Moments pack because they're currently on the shelves, at least in Australia, at the same time. Unlike Percy, where, who knows if we're going to see Wave 2 of the Greatest Moments packs. Apparently, the UK is only getting Flying Scotsman, which I haven't seen a source for yet officially, but if so, weird. In any case, run, don't walk to get these. And the question you might be asking is, well, is it worth me getting 2 Thomases when I could save up for something else? And I think this is a more difficult decision to make. I think if you have an eye for customization and you'd be keen to swap the body shells around, then by all means you may be interested in getting one of both and doing that swap that I've just talked about. But if you're just your average, or you're keen collecting Thomas but you're not sure what to collect, this version here, even with the detailing that I don't love, I think is a much, much, much nicer looking engine. Very simple additions of paint, and by all means, people tell me, oh yeah, why don't you just paint it yourself? Why don't you just print? Why don't you just 3D print like a new XYZ? That is not why I collect toys. I don't collect them to customize them because I'm very bad at that. I want to be able to pay someone to do something like that for me. And so if I have an option to buy the pack with the white lining and the black buffers, then I will do that. And I think that's a similar comment that I'd make here. If you see the difference that I see in terms of the amount of value that white running board and those buffers make to the overall presentation of the toy, I'd say potentially you can skip this single pack version of Thomas and get that Greatest Moments pack version. But obviously better to have one than none. So if you're not sure you're going to be able to get that pack, then this one is also an excellent one to pick up. And perhaps if you take this as a gold special anniversary edition truck, then it's kind of cool too, I guess. Anyway, look forward to hearing your comments down below. That's all we've got time for this Extreme Trains.